Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Sunday. Excuse me, March 2nd. So, what are we going to talk about today? I thought we'd continue on with it being the weekend, a little bit of personal development, of never really knowing how good you could be because you never try. So, stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know. And yeah, this is the weekend. Today is Sunday, March 2nd. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about taking chances. And I don't mean chances where taking risks where you risk it all, right? Because I don't agree with that either. But there are so many people that play it safe throughout their lives. And then they get older like me. And then they have regrets. And I can tell you, the last thing you want is regrets when you get older because now you can no longer do a lot of the things that you would like to have been able to do when you were more physically active, younger. Traveled the world more, what have you. I've always been a risk taker. That's in my makeup. And when people would tell me it couldn't be done, drove me even harder to show them that it could. But the problem I had is I would accomplish something that people would say couldn't be done, get bored of it, and be looking for that next challenge. Because my life was looking for that next challenge of something else somebody said could not be done. If you know my history, you know that this past November I had a quadruple bypass. I had a 99% blockage with a 9% heart function. Not good. But somehow he pulled my ass through it. And by then, in order to keep running with the dogs, I was smoking over 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and I was drinking, quite a number of beers at night just to try to slow myself down, stifle it. Neither were good for the body over the long haul. But knowing that smoking would be hard to give up and the drinking was something that I kind of looked forward to, I gave them both up. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. But does that stop me wanting to live life to the fullest? Absolutely not. Actually, it's given me even more because I feel so much better, healthier. I go to cardiac rehab weekly, all right? And Mia is she's my daughter or granddaughter's age, and she is the one that she puts the EKG leads on me. She has a portable monitor that feeds right to her laptop, and she's normally working with a number of other people at the time. I kid about it, and I make her out to be like this killer that is pushing me to the point of where I'm ready to fall over. But in all honesty, she's one of my biggest cheerleaders. Because even she said, Eric, there's very few people that come to cardiac rehab that really want to get better, that aren't just going through the motions to try to appease somebody else. I'm there to get better. I'm there to build my strength. I'm there to take advantage of anything and anyone that can help me on that goal, on that journey of coming back. Because I know when I left the hospital, I could hardly walk on my own 2 feet. And my daughter insisted on taking me home. And I was reliant on other people. I couldn't do it alone. But after a week, she had me eating, she had me up walking. And I said I'd like to go home. Be able to hang out with my 2 German Shepherds. Have some privacy. And just relax. See, even at that point, I had no driving privileges. I was wearing a defibrillator vest so that if my heart stopped or went into tachycardia, it would zap me. And I wore that for 2 months. But did I allow that to make me give in? No. Some of the best advice I got was from a physician's assistant at Upstate ICU. And I asked him, I said, Greg, what can I do? What can I honestly do to get better? And he said, do what you want until it hurts, then stop. As simple as that is, that's how I've lived it since being released. I do something until it causes pain and I stop. Whether it's walking for a couple of minutes, trying to work my way up. Because once they started me in cardiac rehab, I was walking 20 minutes back and forth in my house. And I didn't get cardiac rehab the minute I got released. It was weeks out. I didn't know the right way to build myself back up, but I knew that in the ICU unit, they wanted to get you up and walking as soon as possible. Even with splitting your chest, cutting your leg open for veins, they still wanted to see you up trying to walk. And when they offered it to me, it was like, absolutely. Did it take a couple of them to help me? Yes. Did they give me a cart with wheels so that I could lean on it? Yes. But I walked. I was walking. I lost oxygen to my brain for 7 minutes during surgery. And my daughter had to take and make the correct choice. When the surgeons asked, do we continue on or do we stop? What do you think your dad's wishes are? And my daughter said, continue on. That's a turning point, folks. Because when your own surgeons and your own doctors aren't sure who they're going to wake up after keeping you in an induced coma for 2 days after the surgery, of thinking that my daughter had made the wrong choice, were they surprised? And I got told constantly, you're a miracle. I didn't feel like a miracle. I didn't know what everybody had gone through. I just knew I was in pain. I was in the hospital. I didn't know which hospital, and I didn't know the date because all that was a blur. But I was talking. And it wasn't till hours later, and it was during the middle of the night actually when I started talking, because I come to and I'm looking around at my surroundings. And I said, hello. And this registered nurse, he was a doll. He's like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? What can I do for you? I said, I am so thirsty right now. I need something to drink. And he said, I can give you just enough to wet your lips, just slosh it around. But I can't give you very much because it could cause you to start throwing up. And we have you on your back for a reason. So by 6 o'clock that next morning, my doctors came in early because they heard I was up and talking to my registered nurse that stayed with me one-on-one all night. And for days after that, they had to bathe me as I laid on the bed. But the staff saw the tenacity in me. They saw the willingness and the eagerness to get better, to fight. I wasn't quite sure how to fight, but I was fighting. I had never experienced this before. How do I do this? How do I do that? I became known as the nicest patient most of those nurses have ever met because I was very grateful and I thanked them all the time for everything they were doing and did. I can only imagine what some people were saying to these great registered nurses and doctors. Only imagine. But I was thankful. Because every day they helped me get one step closer to independence. If I was having a rough day, there was this one young registered nurse, because all my nurses, and it was male and female, were all under 25. And they were staffing one of the biggest ICU, cardiac ICU units in the state. And they were my granddaughter's age, just above my granddaughter's age. And this one thrived. She thrived on chaos, I'll tell you. But if I was having a bad day, which I didn't have very often, I mean, I was in pain, but I was alive. She would stand outside because your room was all glassed in where they could see you from any angle. She would sit outside the glass making faces just to see me smile. They cared. But you never know what you're capable of unless you try. What is holding you back from trying new things. Is it the fear of failure? That's what the usual thing is we set ourselves up to fail before we even get a chance to try. So why try? This is the dialogue we have in our head. You can never achieve greatness if you never try. If you never take that next step and just throw it to the wind and try. Does that mean you'll be the greatest singer on earth? Probably not. But it might be somebody that can hold a key and sing pretty good. Because you've had years of practice singing in the shower. I see so many people have regrets later in life. I've been given a second chance. And I'm not going to waste it. And I hope for you guys watching this video that it doesn't take a life-altering situation to cause you to take a chance. I've taken chances since I was 17 years old and on. I was willing to risk it all to prove points. Not because I wanted to be great at something, it's because I wanted to prove other people wrong. And that elevated me to greatness for my age. And so many of you would do the same if in the same situation you would achieve greatness. Nobody's perfect. And how do we become good at something? It's we practice, It's like I wanted to learn how to play the trumpet. I've never tried the trumpet. And you got to have your lips puckered a certain way anyways to play the frickin' thing. But I've never had a desire to play it. But if I had a desire to play it, where would I start? I would start with talking to somebody that could play the trumpet. Or watching YouTube videos on how to play the trumpet. How to pucker your lips right. But that's the key, is you get started down that road of how do I do it? How can I get better? There are so many examples in life that you hear about of people that were unknowns that shined. Kind of like that 15 seconds of fame or something. But you can't shine if you don't give yourself a chance to at least try. So I'm going to start wrapping it up. The big takeaway from today is you won't know if you're ever good at something unless you try. Understand that if you fail at it, you didn't fail because at least you tried. And if you're not that great when you tried it, try it again. Learn more about how to do something, how to go about it. Practice. And you will find a way to achieve your goals in life and not have any regrets. That's my Sunday sermon for today. You guys have a great Sunday, and we'll catch you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Back to business, right? I know, it's about time. You guys have a great day.